Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of how to solo over your beat. So for example, let me take you right to my screen here. I have here on this, in this file, this particular pattern. So once you have that, then how do you add a melody based on what chords? How do you actually go about doing that so it sounds good? Now, I don't have a camera on my piano. I'm going to have to do that soon, but I'm going to play some of the basic ideas and chords and then walk you through it as I play them. So let's check it out. I may make some mistakes, but that's all part of the process, right? So now let me take you through, I think I played a couple of bad notes here, but let me take you through kind of the process of what I did and what I was thinking as I was playing and some of the techniques that I have here. So let me just take you here to the piano roll so you can see a little bit of what I did here. First of all, I think it's important to find a particular sound that sticks out a little more. So this particular plugin, I think it's called Purity. And so I chose the sound called Tyne EP1. And the idea is to have something that stands out a little bit more, that's a higher pitch than the chords or than the bass melody. So let's get to the actual notes or to the actual MIDI and let's walk through it. So the first thing that I recommend or that I try to do is to have almost like an initial stamp or a thought that you introduce to the solo that you eventually might use later down the line. Now, let me just say that this is way too many notes for an actual artist to jump on. This is just an idea of maybe something that isn't, you're not going to have any actual rapping or singing during this section. It's meant to be a solo highlighting more of the instrumental piece. So with that in mind, let's go through this. So again, this first section is almost like the intro. So I would probably erase these first two lines here, if it lets me. There it is. And just start with that F there. And notice how I repeated the same line, very similar to the F, G, A, but the second time I did it an octave higher. So that's another thought, is start with something low and then high. The contrast is very important. Now that second line, da 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 da, it's almost like the cherry on top. It's something pretty, it's something simple that hopefully is memorable. Ba-da-da-da-da. You can almost hum that and remember that as part of your solo. So that's another thought, is range or octaves and then use something memorable that you may go back to later on. Another technique that I'm using is I'm playing some notes slower. So if you notice at the bottom, you have different velocities. Same idea is you don't want to press so hard on all the keys all the time because the ear gets tired of it. I tend to be busy on my solo, so I'm always battling playing less versus playing more notes. But you definitely want to be simple, but at the same time, you want to play the songs or the notes at different levels, some quieter than others. And there's a bad note right there, so you just fix that. D sharp and D. That's also supposed to be a C there. So again, thank you MIDI for being able to fix things. So what I did there in that last section is basically went back to the idea of da da da, the high part of the solo. So if you look at the whole MIDI here, you can see how I start low. See if I can make this a little bit smaller for you. Start low. This is the introduction basically, and then I go up and down, up again, down again. And it just keeps doing that, up, down. That's the idea. You want your solo to be kind of a sine wave, to go start from the bottom with an intro thought, ends with the same intro idea. So notice how I end with a similar stuff than I started with. It's just an octave higher. And then you want to do this as you go through your solo to create tension, release, soft notes, high notes, all trying to stay within the right key, of course. And let me just say, I'm no soloist. These are just things that I've learned through the years of trying different things to improve my own skills. Now that idea there at the end, as I repeated that ba-da-da-da, because it's pretty, it's the end of the solo. So I normally want to repeat something so that, as I said earlier, the ear can catch something and keep something memorable with them. So I repeat that same line there at the end. Now this is where I get busy. I'm going to just delete these last few lines because they're not needed. It's really pretty just the way I ended it there. Just doing that twice. That's all you need. So I hope that helps. That's basically how I go about trying to add a melodic solo, something that it's not meant to have a rapper or an artist over this. It would be way too busy. But if there's a need for an instrumental or a solo, or maybe even an introduction, these are some of the ideas that I use to keep the listener interested and to create something pretty and beautiful. I hope that helps. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much for being here. I will see you next time.